The Rule 8a, stated under this rules, any action to avoid collision shall be taken in accordance with the rules of this part and shall, if the circumstances of the case admit, be positive, made in ample time, and with due regard to the observance of good seamanship. This rule emphasizes that in situations where a collision might happen, the actions to prevent it must be timely, clear, and in line with the established maritime safety rules, while also considering the practical aspects of good seamanship. Any alteration of course and/or speed to avoid collision shall, if the circumstances of the case admit, be large enough to be readily apparent to another vessel observing visually or by radar. A succession of small alterations of course and/or speed should be avoided as mentioned on Rule B. For example, as shown in the diagram, if vessel A is the give-way vessel, it should make a significant turn to starboard that is clearly visible to the stand-on vessel, vessel B. If a small course alteration is made, the stand-on vessel may not notice the change, and the vessel will then have to make second alteration of course, which is ineffective course correction, which only increases the risk of collision. Instead, vessel A should make a large course alteration from the start, which saves time and immediately reduces the collision risk. According to Rule 8c, if there is sufficient sea-room, alteration of course alone may be the most effective action to avoid a close-quarter situation provided that it is made in good time, is substantial, and does not result in another close-quarter situation. When a vessel uses alteration of speed to avoid collision, it might take time to run the speed off the vessel, and it makes the give-way vessel are very close to stand-on vessel and increase the risk of collision. From this, we can see the alteration of course alone may be the most effective action to avoid the risk of collision. It is immediately obvious and very easy to undertake. To prevent close-quarter situations when there is insufficient sea room, such as in narrow channels like the Suez Canal, vessels must proceed at a safe speed at all times according to Rule 6. Rule 6 states that every vessel shall at all times proceed at a safe speed so that she can take proper and effective action to avoid collision and be stopped within a distance appropriate to the prevailing circumstances and conditions. In determining a safe speed, the following factors shall be among those taken into account. Among these factors, the factor that can apply to sea room condition is the traffic density, including concentrations of fishing vessels or any other vessels. The more vessels concentrated in an area, the less sea room is available for the give-way vessel to make significant course alterations. Another key factor is the vessel's draft in relation to the available depth of water, which mean the big vessels, when enter to a narrow channel, have a small sea room to alter the course. Even if the large vessel is the stand-on vessel, it still has the full obligation to avoid a collision. If a collision occurs, both parties share responsibility, with a degree of fault depending on the situation. According to Rule 8d, action taken to avoid collision with another vessel shall be such as to result in passing at a safe distance. The effectiveness of the action shall be carefully checked until the other vessels is finally passed and clear. For example, as shown in the diagram, Vessel A and Vessel B are in head-on situation. As mentioned on Rule 14, head-on situation, when two power-driven vessels are meeting on reciprocal or nearly reciprocal courses, so as to involve risk of collision, each shall alter her course to starboard, so that each shall pass on the port side of the other. The action have to be carefully checked at all time until both vessels are past each other's in a safe distance. The rules doesn't tell how long the safe distance is, but it have to depends on the type of vessel. If necessary to avoid collision or allow more time to assess the situation, a vessel shall slacken her speed or take all way off by stopping or reversing her means of propulsion as stated in Rule 8. According to Rule 8f, Roman 1, a vessel which by any of these rules is required not to impede the passage or safe passage of another vessel shall, when required by the circumstances of the case, take early action to allow sufficient sea room for the safe passage of the other vessel. According to the Rules 9b and 9c in narrow channel rules, vessels that are below 20 meters in length and vessel engaged in fishing should not obstruct the passage or safe passage of vessels that can only safely navigate within a narrow channel. Also according to Rule 18d, Roman 1, any vessel other than a vessel not under command or a vessel restricted in her ability to maneuver shall, if the circumstances of the case admit, avoid impeding the safe passage of a vessel constrained by her draft, exhibiting the signals in Rule 28. They should take early action to provide enough sea room for the other vessel to pass safely. The vessel may alter its speed or a significant course. So what is vessel engaged in fishing, vessel not under command, and vessel restricted in her ability to maneuver as mentioned just now mean by? According to Rule 3, the term vessel engaged in fishing means any vessel fishing with nets lines, trawls, or other fishing apparatus which restrict maneuverability, but does not include a vessel fishing with trolling lines or other fishing apparatus which do not restrict maneuverability. The term vessel not under command means a vessel which through some exceptional circumstance is unable to maneuver as required by these rules and is therefore unable to keep out of the way of another vessel. Meanwhile, the term vessel restricted in her ability to maneuver means a vessel which from the nature of her work is restricted in her ability to maneuver as required by these rules and is therefore unable to keep out of the way of another vessel. The term vessels restricted in their ability to maneuver shall include, but not be limited to, a vessel engaged in laying, servicing, or picking up a navigation mark, submarine cable or pipeline, a vessel engaged in dredging, surveying, or underwater operations, a vessel engaged in replenishment or transferring persons, provisions, or cargo while underway, a vessel engaged in the launching or recovery of aircraft, a vessel engaged in mine clearance operations, a vessel engaged in a towing operation, such as severely restricts the towing vessel and her tow in their ability to deviate from their course. Rule 8F, Roman 2, stated that a vessel required not to impede the passage or safe passage of another vessel is not relieved of this obligation if approaching the other vessel so as to involve risk of collision and shall, when taking action, have full regard to the action which may be required by the rules of this part. According to the diagram, even if a vessel below 20 meter is defined as the stand-on vessel under Rule 15, she is still required to take action if there is a risk of collision. According to Rule 15, when two power-driven vessels are crossing so as to involve risk of collision, the vessel which has the other on her own starboard side shall keep out of the way and shall, if the circumstances of the case admit, avoid crossing ahead of the other vessel. In the scenario shown in the diagram, both vessels must give each other enough sea room. However, if the vessel below 20 meters is unaware that the container vessel is navigating in a narrow channel and crossing in front of it, the container vessel must take early action to avoid the risk of collision. This reinforces the importance of following Rule 6 when navigating in a narrow channel, ensuring that vessels maintain a safe speed at all times. Finally, Rule 8F, Roman 3, mentioned, a vessel the passage of which is not to be impeded remains fully obliged to comply with the rules of this part when the two vessels are approaching one another so as to involve risk of collision. According to the diagram, in a narrow channel, if there is a risk of collision, the give-way vessel should take action to avoid the collision. It is still a crossing situation under Rule 15. The container vessel is a give-way vessel even though the vessel below 20 meter should allow her sufficient sea room.
That's all for a video. Thank you. See you in the next video.